What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Wednesday, which of course means it's time for another West New York Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today once again comes from the Big Ditch Brewing Company, and they are out of Buffalo, New York, and this is their Unicorn Parfait. So they're calling this one a pastry sour that is brewed with cherries, blueberries, pistachios, vanilla, and granola. Comes in at 5.2% alcohol by volume, 5 IBUs at the time of review. This can is exactly 10 days old. So I picked up two new Big Ditch beers, this and their Kolsch, which is a part of their Beer That Tastes Like Beer series. I'll be reviewing this one today, obviously, and then next Wednesday I'll be reviewing the Kolsch because I really like that series. And it's funny that they have a series called Beer That Tastes Like Beer, and then they released this one. So when it comes to Big Ditch, I can't recall if they've ever released like a smoothie slash pastry sour. I think this is the first, definitely the first that they've released in cans. But really excited about this one. It says a magical treat. Congratulations. You've found a very majestic and rare beer in its natural habitat. We don't expect that we'll brew a Unicorn Parfait many times, so consider yourself lucky that you've spotted this beer in the wild. If you like a beer that tastes like ice cream and B, mythical animals, this is the beer for you. This sour beer is brewed with cherries, blueberries, pistachios, vanilla, and granola. Please keep refrigerated to preserve freshness. So I don't think they are brewing this one and then like blending it with fruit puree afterwards, like a lot of these smoothie styles can be. I think they actually are brewing with the puree. So I don't know if we'll have any like the pectin on the side and whatnot. We will see though. But yeah, 10 days old. Uh-oh. It's a little bit tight. Hopefully it doesn't gush everywhere. Now we're good. So we're going to pour it into the hashtag proper glassware and go from there. I could be wrong, though. They could be, definitely brewing this with, or mixing it with puree. But from the pictures I've seen on Untappd and whatnot, it doesn't look like that to be the case. So, yeah, anyway, I really like the label. It's really nice. Unicorn on there, some rainbow colors. Fantastic. Anyway, yeah, that has that deep purple color. They're using cherries and blueberries. That is a perfect color. Has about a 2 to 2.5 fingers of this straight up, we'll say light purple colored head, very creamy looking. Yeah, that looks like a beer that has those fruits in it. I mean, I love cherries, blueberries are delicious, pistachios, fantastic, vanilla, granola. They're going for a parfait, mixed berry parfait, we'll say in beer form. So let's get a nose. Okay, so this isn't like ice cold either. I let it warm up a little bit. With these styles, typically you drink them cold, but let this has been out of the fridge for like 20 minutes. I'm getting more like actual pistachios. So a lot of times when breweries use pistachios in beers, and especially like these pastry sours or smoothie sours, it kind of comes off as like pistachio ice cream or pudding. This smells like straight on pistachios, like you're eating them out of the shell. Yeah, big nuttiness, big pistachio vibe. A little bit of that granola and vanilla. I would say that's coming more to the forefront, the nuttiness, the granola and the vanilla, than the actual berries, which is crazy. Well, I shouldn't say berries because it's cherries and blueberries. And I said it's a mixed berry parfait. We'll just say mixed fruit parfait. Yeah, I'm not getting a ton of the actual fruits themselves. Maybe a little bit of like a sweet cherry. Yeah, so it smells slightly disappointing just because it's a pastry sour, so I was expecting pastry vibes, and I'm getting like a dry nuttiness to the nose, like just, again, you're eating pistachios and you're just, cracking them out of the shell and just going to town. It's kind of what I'm getting, a little bit of granola, a little vanilla, but the actual like cherries and blueberries lost a little bit. Doesn't smell bad, it just doesn't smell amazing. Anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. It's all right. First sip, definitely disappointing. Let me start this off by saying, if you watch the channel, I am a big proponent of Big Ditch. I think they're probably the most consistent brewery in Buffalo. Them along with Thin Man, probably 1A and 1B when it comes to consistency and the different styles they brew and whatnot. I really like what they do. This, based on, the ingredients and what I'm kind of looking for out of a beer like this, they kind of missed the mark for me personally. It's not bad. It's just, I was kind of really pumped up, a bit disappointing. So, body on this one, 5.2%. It's like lower side of medium, almost approaching medium body, which is fine. Again, these pastry sours don't have to have the fruit puree and be like over the top and whatnot. They don't have to. You can brew them like this, and the body's fine for what this is. It's a 5.2% pastry sour. Sure, it's almost approaching medium body. The mouthfeel, it's more crisp and effervescent and just spritzy on the palate. It doesn't have that soft, smooth feeling that you'd get from a pastry sour that, again, has all the puree in it afterwards. I'll give them this. This is really easy to drink. I mean, it's not heavy on the palate. It's refreshing. The problem I have is there isn't a whole lot going on in the taste based on the ingredients. So right at the front of the palate, I'm hit with a very slight like tart blueberry and like a sweet cherry right at the forefront, but it's very minute. Like, I know it's in here. Would I guess those fruits if I was doing it blind? If I was doing it full blind, I couldn't see the beer. I don't think I'd guess those fruits. I might. I don't know. As it passes through, midway through the palate, there's a little bit of that nutty pistachio. Again, more an authentic pistachio, not pistachio ice cream or pudding. It's more like, hey, I'm eating pistachios, and you can taste that. A little bit of a drying effect too. And then on the finish, a little bit of that vanilla and granola kind of. It's almost like you had like a pistachio granola kind of mix, and not so much in a parfait, because I'm not getting big like dessert kind of like a big dessert or pastry feeling from this beer. It's just more, just drinks like a beer with a little bit of fruit and again, pistachios and granola. But it doesn't have that like yogurt-esque kind of parfait or just like ice cream or anything like that. It doesn't have the pastry-esque vibe. It finishes semi to full-on dry, pretty big dryness on the back of the palate. No bitterness to really speak of. I really was worried that this was going to be too sweet, and it turns out that I think I want a little bit more sweetness here. I think it's lacking a little bit in the sweetness for me. I mean, it's not, I mean, maybe I mean, the balance is fine. I still think it leans a little bit dry, but it's, yeah, I guess I had my brain programmed from maybe more in the smoothie slash, like heavily fruited sour kind of realm. And this isn't that. So I'll say right now, if you're interested in this beer and you're expecting like a froth or Mortalis or 450 North beer, it's not that. And I didn't think it was going to be that, but I thought at least the flavors and everything would be more to that side. I think the best way to describe it is it's kind of those beers, but without the thick, like creamy kind of mouthfeel and body. And it's not as sweet as those beers. And again, I don't think the fruit pops all that much on this one. It's not bad. It's not a bad beer. Like, this isn't a drain pour. I don't hate it. It's just, I kind of expected more. And again, Big Ditch is known for their beer that tastes like beer series. Hayburner is obviously just a staple here in the West New York area. You know, they can brew really good beer. And I think this, for me personally, it might be different for you, but this is kind of a miss for me. It's just not my favorite from them. But yeah, anyway, I would say that for 5.2% too, you really can't taste it, which is nice. I didn't expect to taste it. So yeah, not much more to say about it other than I guess it's time to rate it. So Unicorn Parfait from Big Ditch, their first kind of entry and foray into the pastry sour realm, at least in can form. Best I can do on this is a low 3.5 and go 3.4 out of 5. That's like the best I can do. It's probably the worst rating I've given to Big Ditch beer in a hot minute. Because again, they make a lot of great beer. I'd imagine the Kolsch that I'm reviewing next week will be much better for me. And yeah, just kind of disappointing. So if you want to grab this one, be forewarned. Again, it's not like a crazy smoothie, heavily fruited sour. And I just feel the flavors are very light. For everything that's in here, I'm not tasting like the intensity or the bombastic nature that I would anticipate from a beer like this. So anyway, price and availability. Price point on this was $20 4-pack. I think I paid just over $5 for a single. I think on their website it was like $20.19. So if you're in the West New York area, you should be able to get your hands on this. I picked my can up at Premier Gourmet, and that was like $5.19 a can or something like that. So, you know, for everything that's in here, you know, $5 a can isn't bad. I mean, when you're talking about the crazy heavily fruited sours, you're usually in a $25 4-pack realm. So it's fine for what it is. I would obviously never pay that again because I'm not a huge fan of the beer, but I don't think it's a bad price point if you do like the beer. And availability, Big Ditch now gets distro here in the West New York area, or in the New York area, or New York State. They get distro into the capital region. They just announced that recently. So you should be able to get them across the vast majority of New York State. There's a couple spots they still don't get to. I don't think they are sold in New York City, and then a couple other small spots in New York State. But for the most part, you live in New York State, you should be able to get your hands on their stuff. And I think because they have just opened up their big production facility, they're probably going to get distro to like Ohio and PA and whatnot in the near future. So be on the lookout if you're in those states. And so I wanted to make a quick edit here because I realized after I turned off the camera, I didn't even talk about the sour base to this beer. It's a pastry sour, and I didn't talk about the tartness, if there's a sourness, the acidity and whatnot. So I just want to make a quick edit and talk about that real quick. So I noticed when I took that last sip, and you're not going to see it because this is changing the ending now, but when I took the last sip and was shutting down the review, I was like, oh man, there's a little pop of tartness there. So this has like a firm tartness. It's not quite sour, and it has a little bit of acidity on the back of the throat, but this isn't going to be like heartburn inducing or anything. So from the sour aspect of this beer, I think it's really nice. Firm tartness, decent acidity, but not over the top. So I just wanted to let that be known because I realized like I'm reviewing this beer and I didn't even talk about the sour portion of the beer, and that's because I'm terrible at what I do, and hopefully you realize that at this point. Anyway, like I said before, I turned off the last review, which you will not see. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Check back next Wednesday for another Western New York Wednesday. Again, we're going to be reviewing Kolsch, a part of their Beer That Tastes Like Beer series, and I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, cheers.